You know that feeling when you walk into a room and your chest tightens for half a second because she's there, and she's with friends, and she's glowing, and your brain immediately calculates a quiet, brutal equation. She has options. There's a subtle tension in your ribs, a primal whisper telling you to rush, impress, overperform. And that's the moment most men lose. Not because she picked someone else, because they started playing a game that was never designed for them to win. Tonight, I'm going to give you the spine, the strategy, and the presence to reverse that equation. Not to beg for a place in her attention, but to make her instinctively, almost involuntarily, sort the room and land on you. Not out of logic, but out of something deeper in her nervous system that reads, "He's the choice." The truth most men overlook is simple. When a woman has options, she isn't choosing the nicest guy, the flashiest guy, or the most aggressive guy. She's choosing the frame that makes her feel the most alive with the least risk to her self-respect. She's choosing the man whose presence regulates her nervous system while intriguing her curiosity. Safety and spark. Stability without stagnation. Edge without chaos. If you can make her body experience that polarity around you, subconsciously, her brain will rationalize the decision later. Attraction is a sensation before it's an idea. You engineer the sensation. The mind writes the story afterward. Start here. Your presence is the first offer. Before you speak, before you approach, before you even decide whether you'll approach, you show your value internally. Slow your breathing. Focus your attention not on her, but through her. The energy of the room, the rhythm of conversations, the temperature of the air on your skin, the weight of your feet on the floor. If your attention is fused to her like a magnet, you are already chasing. If your attention is grounded in your body and radiating outward, you're leading. She will feel the difference before she understands why. That's frame control at a physiological level. Your calm becomes the gravitational center she orbits without even meaning to. Speak less, but with intention. When you do approach, imagine you're delivering a line across a velvet rope. There's entry, but not for free. Your tonality needs warmth wrapped around steel, relaxed articulation, slight pauses that let your words land, a micro smile that says you enjoy your own company whether she joins or not. Say something concrete about the environment that only a tuned observer would notice. The bar's signature scent, the way the lighting flatters certain colors, the music's BPM creeping up over the last set. You're not trying to impress. You're demonstrating that your attention is high resolution. Women pick the man who sees reality clearly because it signals competence. And competence is foreplay to trust. Now let's talk about the most misunderstood dynamic in attraction: pre-selection. Most men think it means show other women like me. That's the obvious layer. The deeper layer is signal that your life is already curated with healthy female energy and standards. When your social media and your real life reflect you being around women in non-sexual, high-trust contexts, sisters, smart colleagues, creative friends, you're broadcasting that you know how to relate without drama. The woman with options is filtering for emotional risk. She needs signals that you won't become a storm in her calendar. Mention that you just left a family dinner where your niece beat you at a board game. Reference a female friend who challenged your opinion and made you rethink your take on a film. Say you're grateful for the barista who always has your order ready because she keeps your mornings sane. These aren't brag points. They're micro indicators that your life includes respectful, stable connections with women. Her body relaxes. Her guard lowers. Spark can enter. There's a decisive moment when men lose the frame, the instant they try to win her attention instead of inviting it. Invitations respect agency. Invitations are attractive. Commands wrapped in neediness repel. Practice the open loop, plant a point of curiosity, and step back. I just realized this place smells like cedar and orange peel. There's a story behind that. Anyway, I'm grabbing water and finding the one spot here where the AC actually works. Then you turn slightly away. You gave a thread and didn't yank it. Women chase the man who leaves space to be pursued. Not because you're playing a childish game, but because space is where attraction stretches and tightens like a bowstring. Your eyes are not for devouring, they're for sculpting tension. Hold eye contact long enough to feel your breath, then look away with intention, as if noting something you just remembered you're committed to. That moment tells her two things. You're captivated and you're disciplined. Desire without discipline is chaos. Discipline without desire is dull. When you couple them, You become the polarity she's screening for without knowing it by name. Use it sparingly and honestly. If you stare to force a reaction, you leak hunger. If you glance with quiet amusement because you're genuinely entertained by the dance, she feels chosen, not consumed. Now, the most counterintuitive skill, strategic indifference, not apathy. Apathy is dead energy. Strategic indifference is the art of caring about the right variables, the ones you control, and ignoring the ones you don't. You control your posture, your voice, your boundaries, your pace. You do not control her mood, her inbox, or the story she brought with her from her last relationship. When she mentions the other guy texting her or the plans she's juggling, you treat that information like weather. You don't compete with rain, you bring an umbrella and keep walking. He sounds persistent. You'll make the right choice for you. That statement does something powerful. It aligns you with her agency. You're not one more pressure. You're the man who trusts her decision-making. And ironically, the person we trust with our decisions is the person we want to choose. Boundaries are masculine gravity. Without them, everything floats and nothing matters. You need a hierarchy of non-negotiables that quietly telegraph how you live. Punctuality, respect of plans, no emotional dumping in the first hour of knowing each other. Not because you're cold, but because you protect your time like an athlete protects their knees. When she tests those boundaries, as she will, non-verbally or subtly, you respond with warmth and firmness. Let's push this to another day. I keep my mornings for training. No apology, no lecture, a smile and a reset. The man who protects his structure protects the relationship that might exist within it. That's what she's scanning for behind every playful push. Investment makes choice inevitable. Humans value what they build. Your job isn't to flood her with attention. It's to create a path where she invests, emotionally, logistically, cognitively. Ask for her opinion on something that actually matters to you. A book you're deciding to reread, a destination you're torn between for your next trip, a work decision with two viable angles. Then implement a fraction of what she suggests, and later reference it. I took your route and switched my flight to the morning. Best call. She now exists inside your life story. That's not manipulation, it's respect. You took her seriously, she invested and saw her impact. People double down where they're valued. Escalation is not a staircase you sprint, it's a tide you guide. Start with proximity. Enter her space by degrees and read her breathing. Are her shoulders easing toward you? Is her laugh closer to your collarbone than your chest? Match the intensity of your words to the distance you allow. Whisper when you're within a hand's reach, not to be seductive, but to create a private channel in a public room. Touch is earned, not assumed. A light touch to lead her through a crowded passage, the back of your fingers briefly grazing her elbow as you emphasize a point. Each moment should feel like a question her body answers, not a statement you impose. If her body answers no, verbally or non-verbally, you honor that immediately and with zero drama. Nothing skyrockets trust like a man who has desire and restraint. That combination turns maybe into, I want to see where this goes. Logistics are not chores, they're foreplay to her sense of ease. When she has options, the man who reduces friction wins. Choose clear plans, but keep them modular. 2 options, a tiny jazz spot with ridiculous lemon tarts, or a rooftop with clean air and a view that fixes your posture. Weather's warm, so I'm leaning rooftop, then a 15-minute walk through the old district. I'll handle the reservation. You handle telling me if you're allergic to anything citrus. The subtext is, I think ahead, I adapt. I consider your comfort, and I still lead. Planning is leadership. Flexibility is respect. Together, they read as competence and care. That mixture is addictive. Humor is a pressure valve, not a performance. The kind of humor that magnetizes women with options is situational and lightly self-deprecating without lowering your status. Tease reality, not her identity. This place serves cocktails strong enough to make bad decisions sound like TED Talks. Or, if the music gets any louder, we're going to have to learn sign language just to order water. Your humor shows you see the absurdity in the moment and you're not enslaved by it. She relaxes because you're not trying to make her laugh. You're inviting her to co-author the moment's meaning with you. Scarcity flips when you become the scarce resource in your own life. Women sense men who are over-available because over-availability breeds resentment later. Build your calendar with activities that nourish you, whether or not she exists in your world. training, creative projects, weekend adventures with friends you respect, downtime that actually restores you. Then, when you text, the cadence should reflect a man who lives. Respond thoughtfully, not instantly. Set dates in advance and hold them. If you must reschedule, you do it once, you do it early, and you propose a specific alternative. Chaos is not masculine, clarity is clarity. The micro-challenge is a subtle lever most men never pull. It's the moment you invite her to stretch into your world in a way that flatters her strengths. You strike me as someone with a sharp palate. Want to pick the wine? I'll decide the food. Or, you're detail-oriented. I'm big picture. You handle the route. I'll handle the destination. You're not testing to punish. You're inviting her to contribute. The woman with options isn't craving a man who does everything. She wants a man who creates a container where her feminine intelligence fits and shines. Make that space, and she'll fill it. Let's address jealousy and competition directly. If you try to outcompete other men on the axis of attention, you've already lost. There will always be a man who texts faster, posts flashier, or talks louder. Compete on a different axis, emotional weight. You want your interactions to carry a distinct feeling she can't replicate with others. Quiet intensity, respect wrapped around challenge, the sense that her best self is invited, not demanded. If another man spams her with compliments, you don't counter with more. You notice something precise about how she thinks or decides and appreciate it like a connoisseur, not a consumer. You ask second-order questions. That's rare. In 5 seconds, you've placed her in a category most men don't even have words for. That's unforgettable. Silence is not empty. It's charged. Use it. After she shares something personal, her relationship with her father, a career risk she's debating, a hobby she's shy about, hold eye contact, inhale, and let 2 beats pass before you respond. In those 2 beats, she hears what most men rush past. You felt that. Then respond with a sentence that reframes, not rescues. It sounds like you outgrew a version of yourself, and now you're deciding whether to honor that. You didn't solve her, you named her edge. Respect is the sexiest thing you can clothe a woman's vulnerability in. Refuse to negotiate desire. If she's lukewarm or inconsistent, you don't chase clarity, you create it. I like our energy. If you're open, I'd like to see you Wednesday night. If not, no pressure. Wish you a calm week. You offer a clear path and a dignified exit. Clarity is attraction. Pressure is repulsion. The man who offers both options, engage or bow out, becomes the man she respects. Respect opens doors that tactics can't. Your lifestyle signals must be aligned. The woman with options isn't just scanning your words. She's scanning your sleep, your stress, your discipline, your friends. You cannot mask an unregulated life with clever lines. Lift something heavy 3 times a week to remind your body that you can carry weight. Turn your phone off for an hour daily to prove to your nervous system that you own your attention. Keep promises to yourself so you can keep promises to others. She may not see these behaviors directly, but she will feel their residue in your steadiness, your patience, your humor when things go wrong. That's the man a woman chooses when she can choose anyone, the man whose life already works. There's a technique I want you to adopt immediately. Assume shared standards. Not, I hope we align, but I move like this because the people I choose move like this. You imply it by how you speak. I do breakfasts early. Nights are for reading or friends. I'm off my phone when I'm with someone. I walk after dinner. You're invited if you appreciate digestion and streetlight philosophy. You're announcing the culture of your world. She can opt in or not. Most men wait to be chosen, then react. You choose a culture, then let her choose you within it. That's leadership. If she brings up other men, subtly, casually, or as a test, don't flinch and don't engage in commentary. Smile. Good men exist. I like that for you. Then pivot to substance. What's a quality you've earned in yourself in the last year? You refused the bait of competition and invited depth. She will remember the relief of not being asked to triangulate. Relief is addictive. Give it to her. Your compliments must be specific enough to be true and rare enough to matter. Generic praise is cheap and everywhere. Precision is scarce. Compliment process, not just product. Instead of, you look amazing, try, the way you put that color next to your eyes tells me you think in palettes. Or, You make decisions fast, but you don't rush people. How did you learn that? These land because they reveal your perception. Perception is intimacy. She will chase the man who sees her in high definition because being seen like that is a luxury. When conflict appears, as it will even early, stay slow. Speed is where respect dies. If she's late and doesn't acknowledge it, you don't lecture. You reset your availability. I've got 40 minutes now, let's enjoy that. If she's short or edgy, you don't mirror the edge. You name the temperature. You feel far away tonight. Want to rain check or take a short walk? You bring options instead of accusations. She chooses you not because you never cause stress, but because you metabolize it. Here's a mental model that will save you years. Mirror, lead, challenge, release. Mirror her current state empathetically so she feels understood. Lead her gently toward the energy you'd like to share. Lighter, deeper, quieter, more playful. Challenge her once she's receptive, inviting a stretch that flatters her capacity. Release the moment before it peaks, leaving a thin line of hunger behind. This rhythm makes interactions feel cinematic, like a scene that's complete yet begs a sequel. She'll think about you when she's dressing the next morning, because her nervous system still has your rhythm in it. Text like a man who respects language. Write incomplete thoughts. Avoid the dopamine drip of endless micro-messages. Send something with shape and stop. Wednesday, 7:30. The place with the cedar and orange peel. Wear the color that makes you smirk. Then go live your life. If she asks a question, answer directly. If she plays coy, play patient. Not passive, patient. Patience is pressure expressed as ease. First dates are about establishing the cadence of your connection, not interrogating compatibility as if you're a hiring manager. Avoid table-to-table inertia. Add movement. A short walk after a drink, a bookstore browse, a lookout point, a street vendor with something small to share. Movement changes conversation quality. Sitting across can feel like an interview. Moving side by side feels like a future. Let the environment help carry the moment so you don't force it with constant talk. Let's be blunt. Sex complicates nothing when it flows from clear intention and mutual respect. What complicates everything is using sex to find clarity. You don't escalate to get answers. You escalate because the answer is already there. If you're aligned, be honest. I'm attracted to you, and I want this to unfold at a pace that feels clean for both of us. If you're not aligned, also be honest. This feels good, and I think we're at different places. I'd rather end a good night well than force a wrong next step. Integrity doesn't scare away the right people. It magnetizes them. Jealousy spikes are inevitable if she's in demand. When you feel it, treat it like a weather alert. Acknowledge, breathe, and act from standards, not spikes. You never punish her for being wanted. You simply choose where your energy goes. If she feeds attention games, you step back, not forward. I'm not available for triangles when you want one conversation. I'm here. Then disappear into your life. Most men scream boundaries with words and whisper them with actions. Reverse it. There's one more lever, the quietest and strongest. Purpose. If your life aims at nothing beyond validation, you will always be hostage to her options. Build something you'd build if you never had sex again. A body of work, a body of discipline, a circle of people who admire you because you show up. The man who is anchored in purpose is immune to scarcity in dating because women are not his oxygen. They are his chosen, cherished, invited counterpart to a life already rich. That energy is unmistakable. It's the difference between a boat begging for a tide and a boat with an engine inviting a companion for the ride. Right now, in the time it takes to refill a glass, you can make 3 commitments that shift everything. First, you will not chase attention. You will invite investment. Second, you will not trade your standards for access. You will trade access for alignment. Third, you will not rush moments to create certainty. You will slow moments to create memory. If you live those 3, you will watch women with options set down the noise and choose the signal. And that signal will be you. You're ready to test this, not as a theory, but as a way of moving. When you walk into the next room with her in it, feel your feet, breathe like a man who owns his hour, and let your eyes say, "I'm happy you're here, and I was complete before you arrived." Approach in a way that plants an open loop and steps back. Let her enter. Hold your boundaries without theater. Lead plans with clarity, then adjust with grace. Invite her to contribute, choose precision over volume in your compliments, stretch moments. Then release them before they break. And when she compares, consciously or not, you won't even feel the need to compete. You'll be standing in a frame that doesn't move when other men try to push it. This is the choice mechanism from the inside out. Your regulated presence creates safety. Your focused curiosity creates spark. Your standards create gravity. Your leadership creates ease. Your restraint creates longing. Stack those, and you become inevitable. Not because you beg, not because you manipulate, because you embody the conditions that make her best self want to appear. She will notice how she feels around you, that strange combination of calm and electricity, and she'll make a decision that makes sense to her story. He's my choice. If this conversation sharpened you, don't let it dissolve into the noise of your feed. Take one behavior, your breathing before you approach, your clarity in making plans, your ability to leave space, and apply it in your next interaction. Then take the second behavior tomorrow. And if you want more conversations that treat your masculinity like a craft and your relationships like a high art, stay close. Subscribe because you're choosing the kind of input that fortifies your output. Drop a comment with the standard you're committing to this week. It makes the intention real. Share this with a friend who keeps confusing effort with effectiveness and tell him to test one idea, not 10. You're not here to be another man in the room. You're here to be the frame the room notices. Breathe, lead, and let her choose.